All I remember is I used to say this. I used to be like, I just want to unzip my body and step out of it and throw my bodysuit away. That's what I used to feel like. I just wanted to like get out of myself. And it took me a long time to kind of get into myself.
Welcome back to another episode of It Takes Grit. You are in for a treat today. I am kind of glad and also not glad that we filmed all the things that we've been chatting about and not on camera.
I don't want to be sued. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We had a lot of chat before we started.
Yes, we had a great chat, and some of the stuff is going to be into this episode. So you do not want to go anywhere because you're going to have so much fun throughout this episode. It might get a little bit inappropriate, so if you get offended by that, I just suggest it might not be the episode for you.
No.
And if you don't like an F-bomb, then this is definitely not the episode for you. Ashley Borden, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and that workout was so much fun.
It was.
You're an animal.
You're the animal.
I'm not.
I've seen your Instagram. Like you're badass.
But by the way, when we were holding the pulses, I'm not kidding. I was like, I don't think I've pulsed. Maybe I haven't pulsed in a long time because I couldn't even talk and do this at the same time. So I'm going to start doing your workouts now because I obviously need to become more fit.
Get back to pulsing. You've not been pulsing enough.
I have. I haven't been pulsing enough. That is correct.
Hashtag Ashley's not been pulsing.
Start pulsing. Yes.
Oh, well, and it was interesting. I talk about the F-bombs is that I got my first kind of negative review from the It Takes Grit podcast because somebody wasn't excited or very happy or best pleased with me that I felt like it was necessary to drop a couple of F-bombs. And the reason I'm bringing up this...
Was it your mom?
You know, my mom, she can drop an F-bomb.
Exactly. And by the way, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is it? Your conscience is leaving you a note?
Mm-hmm. What I love about this, and this is what I'm bringing up, is you have this amazing attitude about being 100% authentically yourself. When did that start happening, or has this always been you, or are you coming into it? Because I feel like this year I've been stepping into that space more, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah. You know, I'll tell you. Well, I'm 48. How old are you?
31.
Okay. What happens is this. You're in your 20s, right? And you're like, oh my God, I know everything. And you think you know everything. And you're like, I got it, I know everything. Then you get in your 30s and you're like, okay, maybe I don't know everything. Okay, maybe I don't. Then when you get in your 40s, you're like, I don't give a fuck anymore. So I'm in the I don't give a fuck decade. You're not there yet, but you're getting there. You're getting there. But you start to not give a fuck anymore because when you're more, let me put it on myself. I've always been my personality and myself, right? I find that it's much easier for me to live in life when I'm just me. I cannot conform to what every single person, especially with social media, right? Everyone is not for everyone. And what I've embraced is that if I'm not for you, it's totally okay. We're not right for each other. Maybe they're right for you. So I feel like when people try to conform to try to please everybody, that's when it becomes vanilla and boring, right? It's like you don't want to meet a person that tries to like everybody. You find them a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Not you, but I'm saying if we meet somebody that tries to be nice to everybody, you see that right away and you're like, my God, are you just a wet noodle?
Yeah.
So for myself, being who I am, it all is coming from a truly caring, loving place. I am not an asshole. But sometimes the way that I deliver stuff is very direct, and some people find it maybe not as, I'm not like, could you please do me a favor? And I just get right to the point.
Right.
I'm like, can you please stop? I'll tell you a perfect example. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you have this too, but I find this with women. Women tend to have a lot, like when they text, they have a lot of story in their text, right? Especially my clients.
Fluff?
Just a lot of friggin' story. Like if I'm gonna be late, if I was gonna be late to here, which I wouldn't be, but let's pretend I was, right? Instead of me saying, Rebecca, I'm gonna be 15 minutes late, I'll see you soon. I'm like, hi Rebecca, hope your morning's going good. I just wanna let you know we just left the house and I might have hit a little bit of traffic, but I certainly should get there really soon. It's not like me to be this late normally, but as soon as I get there, I'll text you when I'm about 15 minutes. Just tell me you're going to be 15 minutes late. It's this story. And so I always try to tell people, I'm like, cut the story out. Nobody has time for story. And in business, nobody has time for story. And I think women are more conditioned to doing more story.
With sympathy, like having the empathy about it, like explaining themselves.
Over-explaining. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's okay. You don't need to over-explain. Just get to the point and let me know. Let's move forward. So that probably kind of moved over into me just being very like, just let's get to the. I have no time.
Yeah.
You have no time.
We haven't got no time for this.
You have no time. Who has time?
I know, but I only have 5 pairs of underwear. I've got no time. I have no time to go buy new underwear.
Literally, you're
I
rotating
literally
5
don't.
knickers.
Yeah, 5 pairs of knickers and they're almost destroyed.
But your team was good about communicating very clearly and to the point, and I appreciated that. And I was like, I liked all your stuff, and I was like, this is gonna be good.
I'm glad that, because, sometimes when you've got people and you've got a team around you, it is hard to try and get your philosophy and like your standards to the team without being an asshole.
Yes.
And just explaining like this is just the standard. This is just what we need to operate in a great way. And I think just being honest.
And direct. And I think you just made a really good point. I think that women, and I'm not generalizing this for all women, but this I find in a younger, in their 20s or maybe 30s, that it's like, I don't, can you just please do, like you're afraid, like you don't want to come across too aggressive or you don't want in business. And it's like, I don't think men in business are like, could you do me a favor? You look so good. Oh my God, I love this top.
Where did you get earrings from?
Oh my God, could you do a couple faxes for me? I mean, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like getting more to the point.
Yeah.
And I think that when we all know that, and it's like coming from being direct and being a boss babe like you are, like I am, like your team and stuff. So being that direct and not being apologetic for being direct. You can be direct and not be a jerk.
Yeah.
And not have to apologize for everything. That's a real annoying. I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. Sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Just don't do it again.
Yeah, just stop over apologizing.
Yeah.
I love that. So for everybody who doesn't know how much of a boss babe and how awesome you are, can you just fill us in? I know we spoke about it a little bit on the workout, but like who you are and just the credibility that you have, like the people you've trained. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, thank you. Well, I have been training for 40,000 hours. I know you're like, did you actually?
Yeah, I
did you
was
actually
like,
write
are you
that?
just saying that?
No, I literally said. So I read the book Outliers, and this book says that you actually sit down and compute how many hours you've been doing what you've been doing. So I was on the plane once, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this and get an average, because I know average how much I've been training over the years.
Yeah.
And when I added it up, I literally almost fell out of my seat. I was like, holy shit! It has been 40,000 hours of having my hands on people. Training humans, yeah. So it's been a long time, but I also developed so many things. I used to run retreats for a very long time, personalized retreats with different hotels. I am not doing retreats anymore, but I consult with companies on retreats. I'm still training. I have 2 streaming programs, the Body Foundation and 6 Weeks to Sculpted. That was voted #1 fitness program out of hundreds for Fitness Magazine when it first came out.
Wow, that's congratulations.
Thanks. I was very proud. I was very proud.
Yeah.
It was just a fluke that I ended up getting it out there, and then they ran it. No, but you know what?
Yeah.
And then my app. So I have my app different from your app. Which is a whole nother discussion of apps. But so my app is called the AB Fit app. But what it is it's basically a vessel that holds the different comprehensive programs that you can purchase. So all of my programs that we sell are programs that I've done with clients. Some of the clients that we've done that I've trained from Revenge Body, which we can get to.
Too. Yeah.
Revenge Body with Khloe Kardashian on E. I did season 2 and 3. Reza Farahan, my client who's on Shavs of Sunset on Bravo, he and I have lost close to 60 pounds together now. His program is on there, Reza Fit. So if you go on ashleyborden.com, you see the programs and all their before and afters and stuff.
So you can almost like pick the person
the type
that might look like where you're at, and this is the program that can help you get
exactly
where
like
you're gonna go.
Like we had one of the guys on Revenge Body this year, Eddie, who we built about 38 pounds on him. He was super skinny. And so he was a build program. That was the first time they've done this on the show.
Yes, I was going to say that's new.
And it was amazing. I have to say the whole, I want to talk to you about the recovery side of stuff, because that was something that I really love doing with Revenge Body. Is I'm a very open and out person. I have probably 1990 is when I went into treatment and started my recovery with every eating disorder you could probably imagine. So anorexia, bulimia, compulsive eating, compulsive exercise, compulsive. And I feel like now using that is why Revenge Body to me feels so natural. because I've been there and I understand it, and I understand it on a very deeper level than somebody who has never experienced that type of disordered eating. And I read on your thing that you suffered from anorexia.
Yeah, when I was about 17 years old, I got down to 86 pounds.
Oh my God.
So right now I'm 110. And then just to imagine being 20 pounds lighter.
Oh
is
my
just,
God, yes.
Yeah, it's just.
And the hell you're living in.
Like where was I?
But where were you in your mind?
Was obsessed.
Hell.
Hell.
Yeah,
Hell.
prison.
I didn't want to be there.
Prison. Is this like a prison?
It is.
And how did you get out of your anorexia?
It was a struggle for probably about 4 years. I remember just like going to school and eating seeds. Like that would be my food, and it was like I was so in control of like the portions that I would eat, and it would take me like.
Were you in high school?
I would, just getting at the end of high school, which was crazy because I was bullied for being. people would shout anorexic to me when I was like 14 years old, and I wasn't. And then when I got really badly bullied, and then I actually suffered with anorexia, and it was just very controlling. And I actually moved to London out of that environment, and that's what helped me start to eat, but I wasn't eating healthy. And it was only when I was like 25 that I actually started to eat healthy, like know about nutrition. So I feel
Were you weight training? Did that enter?
I played a lot of field hockey growing up as a kid. I was a ballet dancer.
Oh, okay. So you were an athlete.
Yeah, so I was an athlete. And so, but I didn't ever do like weight training or going to the gym. It was always team sports.
And I feel like weight training, if I could like redo like rehab for eating disorder stuff, I would have a strength training cycle be a huge part of the recovery. I feel like strength training changed my entire life. And I wish I had been introduced to barbell work and all that, and jujitsu, especially when I was going through all this shit before, because it's like the dragon, it's the constant dragon of like so when you're not exercising and you're not building muscle and you're not focusing on your strength, and all you're focusing on is your weight. And it is like the most vacuous, empty, it leads you to nothing. You will turn around. I tell everybody, you're going to turn around and look at your life and be like, what the fuck have I been doing? Like, that's what I felt like. Thank God I hit bottom at 18. But I mean, even at 18, I feel like I had wasted so much of my time. But I hit bottom where I was like, I can't function anymore. Like, I couldn't function anymore. So it was either I was going to die or I was going to go get help.
So let's go back to that. So you are from Chicago originally. And then when did you start to struggle with food, eating, workout?
I would say my disorder, like mind eating and stuff, started when I was 8. And that started around more like my parents were getting divorced. I grew up my mother owned a health food store and my dad owned a sporting goods store. So I was around like athleticism and health food, but the way the health food was presented to me felt like a punishment when I was younger. It wasn't explained to me in a way that a kid could kind of consume it. So I was always trying to sneak and like get sugar. We weren't allowed to have any sugar in my house. So it was almost
like you were so restricted.
Yes.
That was like a rebellious.
Part of it, yes, but not consciously. I think also part of it was that, not being able to control what was happening with my family and my life. So the focus wasn't necessarily like on how much I weighed. It was more on like that I could control my food and then like show my dad like, oh, look, I'm doing this, or look, I'm doing that. And then my natural dad died when I was 13. He got cancer and died when I was 13. But I still think that part of that whole thing with the food was more about control of my life, but I wasn't aware of that until I got into high school. Then when I got into high school, I also was a dancer. It's fun. We have so much. I was a dancer too growing up, but I was jazz, not ballet.
I did everything.
Oh my God, I love it. Yes.
Oh, jazz,
and I danced, right?
Yeah,
I danced for me. I wasn't dancing because I was like, oh my God, my body. I was just dancing, right? But then when I got into high school, it was like all of a sudden there was all this attention on my body, and I was like, wait, what's going on with my body? And then I immediately thought, oh well, I guess everybody thinks I'm ugly because they're only focusing on my body. It was this warp, and then it just spiraled into, well, I shouldn't eat.
Wow.
Like I'm like, I have a great body. How did I get this body?
What do you think people were saying to you? Do you remember, or
what were they saying to me? I remember this. I remember that. So we had like a dance group. So I was a dancer. So I felt very confident dancing. That's what I was doing before I was in school. I was on scholarship and doing this stuff. So we would have dance day, and I would wear my dance outfit stuff that I was comfortable in, and it was like reverse bullying, kind of. It was like just the sexualizing of what I look like, and I had no idea what was going on, and I was like, I do? And it just threw me into this weird, like, I would just hear it. You know, they talk about my body, but I was like, what about my body?
And
then
you're changing so much at that age. You're like,
and your hormones.
Where
and
did these come
so
from? What's going on here?
By the way, these didn't come for a long time. Well, actually, wait, no, these came about 5 years ago, but my other ones that I had did not come until I was like 17. This is a whole nother story.
Mine came when I was like 11, and then they stopped, and then I got called. I would get bullied at 11 years old because I had the biggest boobs in the class. They weren't big, but they were like bigger than everybody else.
Right, at 11?
The boys, like 11, and the boys would be like, "Have you got like socks down your bra?" And I would cry, right? Literally 4 years later, because they never grew any bigger, they just called now this is the 5 year, you know.
Oh, is this the redo?
Yes, it's the redo.
You have a redo? I have a redo. Yeah.
So then in 5 years' time, I was probably about 13, 14, I got called indented. And I'm like, you can't fucking win. You are like, you got two big boobs at 11.
People are awful.
And then
People
the
are awful.
boys were calling me indented. So when I was 23, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna have them put on just how I like them.
Yeah,
so,
good.
Yeah, I had my boobs done.
We should talk about boobs for a second. Because you know
Yes.
what? People don't really talk about. Can we talk about boobs for a
Yes,
second?
I'd love to.
Let's talk about boobs for a second.
I'd love that.
Okay, so I got
Now we know our stories.
Yeah, so now, okay. But because, so I had like, they were like saggy socks, right? So I had big boobs when I was in high school, and then as I dropped body fat, they became more saggy socks.
So you just got boobs at 17, you had nothing before, and then they just like...
I was a late developer.
You were
I
late,
think
okay.
I think maybe because of dance and stuff like that, but I got them like at 16, like naturally. And then I was like, have some boobs, right? I had some. Then as time went on and I got older and I dropped body fat, blah, 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 they just became more saggy socks. So then I was obsessed with trying to fill my saggy socks, but I felt like you're an asshole for wanting to get implants, because I was like, what if I die on the table? And I'm a narcissist for wanting to get my boobs done, and look at, anyway. So 4 years went by. I finally was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I don't know if people really talk about, are yours below, under the muscle or above the muscle?
I think they're above.
You think?
Yeah, well, it's been a while.
How was your recovery? How was your recovery?
Great.
So it was probably above the muscle.
I think it was. I don't remember it being under it.
Like when you do pushing, you don't see them pulling apart, right?
No.
Okay, so above the muscle, everybody.
Yeah.
When you get them on,
you don't have to know everything down Facebook.
You don't.
I'm like, that's a great question. I think they're above. They have to be. Because I remember it's more extensive if they go underneath.
Yes,
right?
and when you get them under and you're athletic, and then you're doing like press, that's when you see them pulling apart because it's underneath your pectoral muscle.
That's not. Is that?
Well, that's not mine or yours because ours are on top.
Do you want that, or do you?
No, you don't want that.
Right? No.
But I'm not a doctor, so I don't know why you would choose to get them under. No, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that's what you see when it's under the muscle more. It's because it's your pectoral muscles moving when you're flexing.
It would make sense to put them on top rather than underneath.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe we need to have an expert here to help.
Doctor this.
But
we're not claiming this yet.
the point is that first of all, here are the things that I would say about boobs that people don't talk about. Number one, I have no feeling on this whole boob.
No, I don't have anything on one side underneath.
No feeling. I have no feeling on this boob.
Did you like your boobs being touched before?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Did you?
See, I wasn't like a big maybe I just didn't have the right guy.
Maybe not.
Sorry, all of those list of
Yeah, exactly. They're all like, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
But I have no feeling here or on the nipple on this boob. This boob I have more now. It always feels like I have like fish bags from like you know how like when we went to like the fair and you would get like a fish in the bag?
Yeah.
So it feels like when I lay down on my, it still feels like there's things there.
Yeah.
Right? When I remember when I first hugged people, I'd be like, could you feel these?
Yeah,
Doesn't it feel like it?
Yeah, 'cause you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
well, you can feel it pushing
and they don't
in.
move because they don't move. And I have to wear a bra.
Yeah, okay.
Do you?
No, I don't know.
I'm a little jealous. Yeah. I do. I do.
Okay, so you just haven't done once?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you had them done more than once?
No, I've just had mine done once. But did you feel like you went big or like?
No, they're just like, and that's the other thing. People think,
you
I'm
like
just going to get boobs. I do. I love,
Perfect.
but they're natural looking.
Yeah.
So I didn't know also when you're getting boobs that like you bring a picture and you show like what you like. So I brought pictures and he was like, oh, you like a natural slope.
Okay.
And I was like, I do?
I do. Guess it, yeah.
Now I know why Mariah Carey doesn't zipper up her winter jackets in Aspen.
Because she can't.
Because she can't. Because I was trying to zipper up my jacket and it was like,
yeah, just still
my
going.
tits were like up. I was like, what did I do? Because I'm athletic and I wanted to move. They do go down. It took a year.
Yeah, no, it does take a good time.
And like all the swelling underneath here, it does take a long time. And do you still squeeze yours? So you don't get capsulation?
No, I don't think I did that.
Well, my doctor said I'm supposed to squeeze them all the time.
I never got the squeezing.
Yeah, he said squeeze them so they don't get capsulated up here.
Okay, maybe I'll hire someone for
Start
that.
squeezing. Yeah, start squeezing. But you know,
Okay.
I am glad that I did it. I am glad that I did it. But, you know, it does not feel, people think you're just going to get your boobs and it's like, it feels like your other boobs. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Not to me.
No, they're not. They're not at all.
You always, and that's why everybody who has implants are like, here are my boobs, because it doesn't feel like it's your body.
I would show you my boobs right now.
So would I.
I'd be like, they're not real. It's like, yeah, someone stuck these on. Yeah. I'd be like, you want to, yeah. I think I've done that before when I'm like, oh yeah, like, probably someone's not even asked and they're just like disgusting what it'd be like to have a boob job.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, when you're because you want to show, you're like, these are what mine look like.
This is my doctor. This
Yeah,
is my
exactly.
art. Yeah, this is the craft from my doctor. I love that.
Exactly. So that's the boob honesty about that.
So you feel good now you've had them done. It was a good decision. It was the right decision for you.
I'm glad I did it. There is a part of me that's like, I wonder what would it look like if I didn't. But I like the proportion feeling. I like having them. I don't, if things
I like wearing them in a bikini. For me, like, I feel good, like, in a bikini. I didn't, this is probably too much information.
Yes, no such thing.
I didn't like the way, if I was on all fours.
Yeah, the forward. The forward.
I didn't like looking
the
at
crepey. The crepey. So what we're talking about is when you're like this.
Yeah, and they're like hanging.
And they're forward.
And they're like low, and then you might be moving a little bit. When you're on all fours.
You're like.
Yeah, like someone's. Yeah, I just. I'd be like, okay, let's just look this.
Someone's behind.
You. Mm-hmm. And that's what, do you know what? That's the thing. I didn't feel confident like in bed.
Oh, you mean before you had your boobs?
Before.
Oh, I thought you meant with the boobs.
Oh, now I'm like.
Oh, now you're all. Yeah, you're
cowgirl.
Well, but sometimes
I think that's just an insecurity in my own body when I was being like romantic with a guy.
By the way, I am all for whatever makes you feel. Go do it. Mm-hmm. Go friggin' do it. But do it for you.
Yes.
Do not do it for somebody else.
Yes. No. Yeah,
oh my God. Don't do plastic surgery for somebody else.
No, because they can leave.
Yeah. And you're stuck with a pair of tits that you didn't want, if that was the case.
So, okay, so that's great. We just got a little bit sidetracked with boobs and my boobs and
I'm sorry. We
all
need
the
to,
things.
We need to talk about boobs.
So going back to then you being a dancer at 17 years old, what kind of weight did you get to? What were you looking like? What were you feeling like?
And when I was dancing, I was normal. I was like a normal, I was always kind of skinny on the skinnier side. I'm a hard gainer, like with building muscle and stuff. So, because there are different body types, right? There are some people who have shorter muscle bellies who tend to, if they lift weights, they look bulkier quicker than somebody who has a longer muscle belly. That is just a science thing. That is not because you're a loser. So for me, it was a lot harder to put on muscle and size, which was a focus of mine later in life. But when I was dancing, I was just enjoying dancing and I liked doing that. Again, like the body image stuff was just coming from so much self-hatred. And I think that's why now it's like, you know how they say like you're as sick as your secrets?
Yep.
So, which is another reason why like I say how I feel, because I feel it is very unhealthy to hold things in, to not communicate how you feel, and being conscious that you're saying it coming from the right place. But for me, training and all of that has been like my savior. And being able to help people. So when I got out of treatment in 1990, I was in treatment for eating disorder in Chicago.
Okay, and what made you get to that position? Like what was the catalyst?
At that point at 18, I was not leaving my house. I was throwing up multiple times a day. I couldn't get dressed. I hit a bottom where I
were you throwing up the food that you were eating? Were you keeping
bulimia.
Nothing down? Bulimia.
I was bulimic. But with every eating disorder, it flip-flops, right? Like you're anorexic, it'll flip to bulimia, it'll flip to anorexia, it'll flip to compulsive exercise. So it just flips,
Can people tell by looking at you?
Well, I can tell. So here's the thing. I can smell it on somebody who has bulimia. Like now, I can feel it on you. You could see it on me because my glands were swollen. I was swollen. My skin was cystic, acne.
Yeah.
I was so miserable. I mean, it makes you want to cry now thinking about it. It is just such a depressing, dark place to be in with you and your eating disorder. And you're so alone, And for me, I hit bottom because I was at that point like feeling like I probably can't function anymore. Like I was it. I was like, how I can't function. So at the time, my mother was like, we need to find a treatment center for you. And
were you open with was your parents aware of what was going on?
No.
No idea.
I mean, my mother worked all the time, so I was home. It was mostly me. Like she was always at work. No, she wasn't. I told her. I'm like, by the way, I've been throwing up. She's like, oh, I thought I heard you doing something in the bathroom. And I'm like, why didn't you ever friggin' say anything to me? I mean, Jesus. So I was the one who told her I'm friggin' bulimic and put me in treatment. And I was in treatment, I think it was like a month and a half. And this was when I was 18. But it was a 12-step treatment center. And that started me in OA, which is Overeaters Anonymous, which is for everything. It's for overeating, undereating, and all that.
So they put you in that. Okay.
So this treatment center was a 12-step treatment center. So when I got out, I was still very involved, and I still am, in a 12-step program, like AA, they have OA for eating stuff. A lot of my clients, I direct them in that because of the community and the support, but more than anything, writing your 4th step, which is a whole nother thing. But yeah, so that, my approach with everybody now all stems from this history that I had, which I feel is like a gift, because
it is. Well,
it's a gift.
You have to teach what you've learned.
And when you've been there, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. You also, and I mean, I don't know, do you train clients? Or just do online?
Most of the stuff is online.
Okay, so, when you're meeting somebody, right, face to face, and I can feel it. Also, I'm very empathic, so immediately I can feel it. And the way that I deal with people is just not like normal people.
Right.
And I'm either for you or I'm not. But I find that people, like I have a new girl that's been with me. She's a nightmare. Okay, she can't show up to a fucking session. Always an excuse. And so I told her. I said, I actually have. Show you something when I do.
She has the message.
So no, because what I decided to do with this client is before I had even started training her, I said, I need to show you something. And I said, I compiled all of your excuses you sent me since we've even started, right?
Wow.
And these were all of her, look at this, all of her text messages to me of excuses. And so I sent it to her. And I said, I think you need to have to take a look at that. Hey, sorry, took something that I slept a little longer than I intended. She had a 12 o'clock appointment with me and didn't show up. Anyway, but the point is that
That's a great tactic to reply to everybody that they're all their excuses.
Oh yeah, I sent it to her right away. I said, one client, I made a collage. So I made a collage of all her excuses and I said, I have a gift for you. And she said, what? And I said, it's a collage of your excuses. And I sent it to her.
That's amazing.
And I said, you should look at this.
Yeah.
But so with this client, right, who is starting with me, I do like the challenge, but also like she had said to me, I really want to get on a schedule. And I said, you don't get on a schedule until you show up to all of your appointments that you book. You don't get priority booking with me. You don't even show up. So, and it's the baby. It's like, well, can you do it an hour later? Can you just, no. Or she'll say, do you have a client afterwards? And I'll say, why?
Because you want to push it back.
Why? And then she'll ask, and I say no. So there's there's none of this bullshit. You either showing up in your training or it's not. And if you don't want to work with me, she actually said to me, I feel like, because I told her too much story in your text messages. Too much story, you got to take it out. And when she came in, she said, to be honest with you, I don't know if I was going to continue with you. And I'm like, oh, I know. And she's like, oh. And she said, I kind of thought your text messages to me were not really that nice. And I'm like, oh, I know. I'm not, my job is to be clear and direct. I'm not trying to baby you. I mean, that's the truth. And we're on our 3rd package together and she still can't show up and, we'll see if this will last. But the point is like, people need to be held accountable. People want to be helped and they want to be told what to do. When they're coming to you, they want to be told what to do from a good place, I sound like I'm like some S&M person, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. I could do that too. You know what? That might be another job later in life.
Yeah,
yes, okay.
That's the exit plan.
Hold on a minute. Yes.
So let's go back to, you've now got out of the treatment. How did that go? How did that feel doing that 12-step course?
In treatment? In treatment, I was like, I am not as sick of all you guys. You guys are all crazy and I'm not. I need to leave here immediately. You guys are all crazy. I'm not crazy. I need to leave. That was my first week. Then I was like, oh my God, I can't function. I need this help. And then I was like, I'm actually learning something here. I had a real distorted ego, like the ego where I'm like, I can't go to the gym because everybody at the gym is watching me.
Right.
And everybody at the gym notices that I gained an ounce. So I can't go to the gym because you guys are all paying attention to me.
It's interesting you're talking, that's ego.
Distorted ego. Exact distorted ego. Because guess what? I have a newsflash. Nobody cares. No one cares. Literally nobody cares. I mean, maybe your immediate family cares, but nobody cares, and they care for like that second, and then it's over. That's what I feel like going out. It's the same thing. Like once you're there, like no one cares what you're wearing.
Because everybody else has got their own things going on. They're all thinking the same thing.
They
anyway.
are. They are. Everybody is. And I'm the worst with the sidetracking. Thank you for keeping me on the rails here. Keep the guardrails on me.
Stay focused.
Okay, I'm staying focused. I have very bad ADHD, if you haven't noticed. Where were we?
Okay, so how do you enjoy your 12-step program? We're on week 2.
We're on week 2. Okay, so we got out of treatment and we're starting our life. It was very hard. It was very hard. Like I worked my ass off on myself for the first 2 years, hardcore. Did my 4-step, work with my therapist, work with my sponsor, blah, blah, blah. My whole goal was that I wanted to be sane. I was so miserable. I was so miserable. And I didn't want to be miserable anymore. So I was willing to do whatever this woman was like, if you do this, this, and this, you will have spiritual freedom. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do whatever you're telling me.
You were teachable. Because I feel like a lot of times people know they're miserable and they don't want to do anything about it. Or they think that what they're being taught is not going to help them get to where they want to be. But you were so like, you just such rock bottom that you were like,
yes,
I'm going to take advice. That's the thing, you got to take advice. You got to follow someone that is already in a position where you want to be in and just allow them to teach you.
Yes, and somebody like you who's saying like you've been there, you were bullied, you found yourself, you found fitness, and it's like, and your story or your thing is why people follow that, right? Because you have authenticity, it's real, and it's the same thing. It's like all of this for me was a great background to what I do now. And I feel like it's prepared me to be mentally the person that I am today. But it was very hard. And that's why I say it's like all about a journey and finding people that you connect to and that you trust and that don't I hate this word. I mean, I don't hate the word, it's overused, but the word trigger is real. It is real because I feel like people do get triggered by some people's Instagrams. They get triggered. Then don't watch it.
Comparison.
Don't compare. What do they say? What is that? Like comparison is like the worst thing you could possibly. I don't know what there's some saying, but
just don't compare.
No, don't. The only
it doesn't
people,
make sense either.
the only people who can compare, I will tell you, the only people who are allowed to compare is if you are an identical twin.
Yeah.
Then you can compare.
Together with the same parents.
Yes.
And you have the same interests.
And you're following the same program, and you're eating the same way, and you have the same stress at the same time. Then you can compare yourself. Otherwise, like, what is the point?
Funny? That was I made a whole episode about why comparison doesn't make sense because you're never on the same playing field as can be able to compare to someone. What are you comparing to?
How do you compare? How are we comparing when your biology is different, the way your digestion system's different, the way your muscles are different?
We were born in different countries.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't, doesn't make any sense to compare.
Inspired. I was just about to say, if you find something that you feel inspired by, or you're like, oh, I like the path they're going down, I think that's great. But to want to be the other, I've never understood wanting to be somebody else. Like I have a news flash. You're only you. It doesn't matter how much you want to be.
You're you.
Yeah, you're fucked. You're you. So make you the best you. I also saw that she has a quote on her wall that says, be the best version of yourself. My quote that's on my sweatshirts are the best version of you.
I love it.
Girl, I knew it. I know.
There's so many things.
It's so true. Great. It's so true. Be the best version of you.
Yeah.
You. Like, what can you work with you? It doesn't.
You can't get anything. You're not gonna be that other
Nothing's
person.
gonna change. You might be able to change your hair color. Yeah. You can improve you, but that's what I'm saying. Like, be the best improvement of you.
Totally. After those 12 weeks, what was the first step out of that? Because that's a big change. You're in this 12-week program now. It's like, oh fuck, now where am I supposed to go? Or did you already know what was happening?
No.
And how old were you?
I was 18 when I got out of treatment, and I was still working, so I had a job, and I was going to meetings, and all I remember is I used to say this. I used to be like, I just want to unzip my body and step out of it and throw my bodysuit away. That's what I used to feel like. I just wanted to like get out of myself. And it took me a long time to kind of get into myself. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I feel like when you have a voice and you are yourself, it's like there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's coming from the right place. You know what I mean? And for me, realizing as I've got older, and I swear to God, it does happen and you hit your 40s, you're like, fucking care anymore. I don't fucking care. You care, but you don't, that distorted ego starts dulling a little bit, where you're like,
it's not important.
It's not as important. What's important is yourself, what you're giving other people, how you are to other people.
Integrity.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Honesty, integrity, and being a good person.
So do you feel you were, because at 20 years old, you then came to LA?
Yeah.
That's a big transition for 20 years old from Chicago.
I was 19 maybe. Yeah.
19. And were you recovered, or and why did you come to LA?
Well, you know the saying, ignorance is bliss? Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't say that I was ignorant, but I would say that I was like, I'm gonna move to LA. I will tell you, I had extended family lived out here, right? Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was also doing commercial work, and I had an agent in Chicago. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna move to LA. And I told my agent, I didn't understand how all it worked. And I was like, I'm gonna move to LA, and I am going to be with a big agency. Meanwhile, my agency was like, hello, we are your agent.
Yeah.
So
ungrateful bitch.
Yeah, I didn't know how it works. So I was like, well, there's like, at the time it was like ICM, William Morris, CAA wasn't there yet. So I sent out a cover letter to all these agencies, and I said in the cover letter, my name's Ashely, blah, 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 I live in Chicago. I said, however, if you're gonna fuck with me, please use one of these. And I taped on a condom.
Oh my God.
And I sent this out to all of the agents in Los Angeles. And I got meetings with...
Did anyone know that you'd done that? Did your parents know?
No, my parents.
No, but like, no.
My parents. I mean, like, I've been parenting myself right now. Yeah, I sent it out. I got an interview with William Morris. I got an interview with ICM. I got a couple people who were like, in the future, this is really inappropriate. And I was like, that's exactly why I sent it.
Yep.
And I started with William Morris at the time. So I started with William Morris, and I was going out on auditions, right? And I'll never forget, I went out on Baywatch audition. And that was the end of it for me. I was like, what am I doing?
Oh, really?
I was like, this is the most, for me, I said, this is the most vacuous, well, I'm gonna be in a, what? I knew that I needed to do something that had depth to it, and I knew I needed to help people. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not helping anybody doing this. I'm just a-hole in a bathing suit at these cattle calls. And also I wanted to feel like I had more control in my life with my life. So I decided, I was like, I'm gonna help people. I want to train. I didn't know how to do this. I didn't go to college. I didn't know that this was a profession you could do. I didn't know you could try to create a team of people. I just say I try to do it like the prison route. I just was working at Gold's, and I put my horse blinders on, and I trained for 10 years.
Wow.
And I trained probably, 14 people a day. I just was an animal, and I worked my ass off. And being in LA, as you know, I mean, there's opportunity. This is the land, to me, Los Angeles is the land of opportunity. If I was in Delaware, I probably wouldn't have the same life I have now, because it's different. It's here, right? So, that's what people say, how can you do this and do that? It's like, we're here. This is LA. Move to LA. This is land of opportunity. And I feel like I've always felt like that you can create whatever you want out here.
Yeah, it's so true. It's taking that risk to come out here.
And not listening to other people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And just following on. And then you have to figure it out. Like, how do you make it work here? You just have to figure it out.
When did you move here?
Nearly 9 years ago. I was 23. So I moved to London at 19 from a small town.
See?
And then I was like, next stop is America. So 23 years old, came out here. And I came out here for something else. And then I got my work visa. I had to do odd jobs. Like, I didn't know how I was going to make it work. I was doing poker dealing.
Why did you move out here?
Originally, I got my commercial pilot's license out of Long Beach.
Oh, that's right. But you fly planes.
So I got that. And then I was like, I don't want to be a pilot, but I want to live in freaking California and drive down PCH and
you're a pilot.
Yeah, I have my whole license. Yeah, crazy. But I don't do anything with it anymore. But it's amazing. That's impressive. And you just have to. You came and you figured it out. You just have to figure it out. People are like, I'd love to.
Well, you have to do it.
I would. Yes.
Right. You have to just start doing it and figure as you go.
Yeah. It's like, I'd love to live there. Well, you can. No one's holding you.
Yeah. And by the way, here's another thing. You can also move back.
Yeah.
Like
anytime you want.
Yeah. But I think what you said was the key, right? You just have to start doing it. I think what everybody does is they get paralyzed with when it's like this. Okay, when I have this.
Perfect
when
time.
it's like there is no perfect time. There's no perfect time to start training. There's no perfect time to start doing what you want to do with your life. And taking risks like this are what kind of creates the excitement, but also calculated risks. I mean, like, you don't want to be like my cousin who was like, left a job at the Four Seasons that was great and decided that he was going to teach scuba diving on private yachts, but didn't realize that he didn't know how to scuba dive yet.
Okay, yeah.
So like
There's
left his whole
transition.
career. Yeah, you need to have like a good transition that kind of goes with what you're already doing. Oh, the other thing is, and I don't know if you felt like this, you have to also ask for help. You cannot do this by yourself. I mean, we're here right now. We have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here.
It's never downstairs. Yeah.
And that's just for me. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, but I mean, like, seriously. Yeah, that's just who came with me. I'm just Can you imagine? What an asshole.
Someone get my bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoes,
Where's my cup?
Can someone just massage my... Actually, people massaging our feet under the table while we're doing
But
this.
that's what I do. When I used to train Christina Aguilera and I would be on tour with her and doing all that was part of my job. I was doing massage, I was doing training, I was doing food, I was doing all that. But wait, getting to that, along the same lines of like just doing it, it was like getting started in this business on that end with celebrity was also being here, being a good person, having good relationships with other people, and it was like a referral. Somebody had asked, like, could you come interview with this person? I interviewed with Irving Azoff, who happened to be Christina's manager at the time, and then they hired me. But it was because I was a referral through Irving's trainer, who I just happened to be friendly with at the gym. So it also pays to not be an asshole. You know what I mean?
Keep relationships. And I've just come back from a mastermind weekend, and our big thing was like,
what's the mastermind weekend?
It was an event. You know Jesse Itzler. You know Sarah Blakely's. You know Sarah Blakely Spanx. Yes.
Oh yes, Spanx, yes.
So her husband, who's also very.
Oh, the mastermind class.
Yes, I'm part of Lewis House's mastermind thing.
Excuse me.
And the big thing was like relationships, like doing something for someone now. It might not come back for 20 years. But having that relationship is so important that you're not expecting something back immediately, and you never knew that something that you did in the first couple of years at Gold's then got you a job 10 years later because of the connection that you made because you were friends, and it's thinking long term.
Yes.
So many people right now are like, I want to see what this
point.
person can do for me now. I'm only going to repost this person. I've had people on my podcast
Wait, I read one
and
of your
haven't.
posts. I read one
and
of your
didn't
posts.
repost it as a story. And I'm like, who are you? Like, it's so, you're not thinking about the bigger picture because you think right now that like, you know what, you're more important than me. Well, you never know. And anybody on podcast that I'm on, you never know how that person can help you, whether it's financially, whether it's a friendship wise, whether it's a relationship in like 20 years.
But also on that, right, fitness, I'm just talking about fitness. Fitness world is about this big. And it is all referrals. It is all referrals. It is all referrals. And it's all referrals. So if you, like you and I, she and I were talking about somebody before that we both happen to know who isn't somebody who I would refer because she wasn't easy to work with and she wasn't that nice, and you don't want to work with them no matter how big they are. Yes, they're a demographic that I work with, and I'm grateful to work with them. I also work with athletes, I work with moms and dads, I work with people who are students. I mean, I work with everybody, and I feel everybody is just as important. I understand that clickbait is who I've trained, and that's more exciting for people to hear that. But I also have another news flash, and it's hard to believe, but celebrities are also human beings. And they're normal, and it just
they gotta train too.
Yes, and it happens to be their profession that they're in. And I think that was something you were talking about earlier too. It's like, the longevity in this business of working in that demographic, the reason why you have longevity is usually two things. One, you are a team player. Two, you don't have some weird secret desire to actually be that person. So sometimes you have trainers that secretly are like, I should be doing this movie.
Love it. Okay, so obviously you've trained celebrities, you've trained moms and dads, you've trained everybody. If someone's brand new to exercise, just to kind of wrap this up, what is your idea of the first steps of making a change into a healthy, active lifestyle?
Well, that is my obsession, right? Which is giving people the right tools to help them. Because I remember when I first started training, it was like I didn't know how to move. I felt so inadequate. I was like, is there anything to teach me doing this?
I'd go to the gym and stare at a machine. I'd be like, I've stared at that for 10 seconds. It's probably too long now.
And I say it's like a dentist office. If the dentist office was open to the public, you would only use a toothbrush and a water pick because that's all we know how to use. So it's the same thing at the gym. You use the treadmill and then whatever you're using.
The free weights.
Right,
Which
is why you're not a loser. You just, this is what we do for a living. We know how to program. You don't. So I would say to somebody who's new, you want to start with a foundation that feels safe for you, right? We have an on-ramp program called On-Ramp 1.0, which is exactly for that. It is a 6-week program, 3 days a week for people who are just starting and don't know how to move, right? Then they graduate to On-Ramp 2.0, and then they can graduate to any of my other programs. Also my SOS food plan. My SOS food plan is what I basically created around like my healing with my eating disorder. So it's really teaching you like how to eat and not diet. So you're not like taking out your scale like I used to at a restaurant. I'd be like with you at dinner and I'm like, take my scale out and put my protein on it.
Yeah, and send
like
the rest
back. Like a lunatic.
Yep.
So those kind of things, everything is on ashleyborden.com because I really do support people's journeys no matter where they are in their fitness journey. So all of that's on there. I have a lot of free content too on my YouTube, Ashley Borden Fitness. And so it's all there to help you.
Okay, I love it. And so the biggest thing, or let's just end with the biggest lesson that you've learned from being a trainer in Los Angeles.
The biggest lesson I've learned from being a trainer is to know your worth. Is to know your worth and your value.
And what is coming up for you next? What is 2020 got in store for this?
2020.
Yeah, we're going in. We've literally got like a month and a half left. This year, I don't know what's happened.
The fastest year ever.
The fastest year ever. Somebody is twiddling with something.
Yeah,
it's twiddling with something upstairs, and I don't know what's going on. But this year,
it's going through too fast.
Yeah, I don't know. So what? Yeah, 2020.
2020 has a lot of really good things. We're launching our podcast called Kimchi and Hala. She's going to be on my podcast. I'm so excited. And also new programs for the AB Fit app. We're doing an in-home program that's coming out, so you can follow all that stuff at in-home. We have a year-long program that's coming out to take you through an entire year.
Nice.
That's more of a sports performance programming. And hopefully doing Revenge Body again next year. And lots of other projects that are coming up. So make sure. Oh, wait. And the most exciting thing, my intuitive training coaching.
Oh, this is exciting.
We have another hour. So my intuitive training coaching that I've been doing, and I love it. And I do it with other trainers and coaches. So we do it where we do all together. It's an online thing. It's been incredible. So I train other trainers and coaches to improve their business and their coaching and everything that they need. So that is also on my website on ashleyborden.com. So if you're interested and you're a trainer or a coach and you want to sign up for that too. And I would also love to have you as a guest on that too.
Amazing. Anything you need me for, sign me up.
Let's get married.
Sign me up. Like honestly, whatever she's selling, I'm buying. Whatever
Ashley
she's
Borden
doing.
Smith.
Yes, Ashley says she's the new brand, Ashley Borden Smith. So they can find you, Ashley Borden, everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the things. Wow. What a fire episode. I'm so grateful that you came down here and also did our Friday challenge on the YouTube channel as well. Guys, if you love this podcast and if you're crazy if you didn't, make sure that you head on over to iTunes and Spotify and leave us a review. It makes a massive difference when you give us that 5 stars and also just tell us how much that you love it. We will see you on next week's episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Let's take out that middle part of the brain that is holding you back. That is telling you that you can't do things. I want you to work so hard on eliminating that.